The potential for XRP to skyrocket is real, and it has some interesting implications. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the technical analysis on XRP, showing my XRP price prediction for the long term. As I get into today's video, smash that like button if you're new, subscribe, and let's jump right down into today's video. So this chart is the XRP USDT 1 week Binance chart. And this data kind of starts off in May of 2018. We can see we obviously had the bear market low of March 2020, and we obviously saw a lot of volatility in 2020, right? We obviously saw the lawsuit from 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗡𝗡 dropping on Ripple. We saw a 77.7% crash in the market on that one. And obviously we saw a reversal to the upside afterwards. Now that crash in itself, I think, caused about $13 billion worth of damage to retail investors globally. And I know the recent verdict from Judge Torres says that there was no real harm. I mean, I guess they're kind of talking more about the institutional side. There was no institutional harm done by Ripple in terms of selling unregistered securities, but the retail investors were definitely hurt with the lawsuit that the SEC brought. So maybe there's a counter to be done somewhere along the line, but for the most part here, this was a huge concern in 2020 and 2021. We obviously saw a peak of $1.96. The previous all-time high, I believe, was $3.31 in 2017. So we've seen, a significant suppression of the Bitcoin, of XRP's price, right, in relation to Bitcoin, in relation to Ethereum, and basically other cryptocurrencies that performed very, very well. But in terms of XRP's price, it's been kind of suppressed for a very long period of time. This whole lawsuit through 2021, 2022, 2023, and we finally got a little bit of clarity coming in 2023, July 2023, with the programmatic sales of XRP verdict, basically saying that sales on the exchanges do not warrant or basically prove the third prong of the Howey test, essentially, right? And so after all of that, we saw more volatility. We did see an initial surge to the upside in July of 2023, hitting 93.8 cents. And then obviously we saw the collapse to the downside after that, basically because there's a lot of fear out there around whether or not the SEC are going to appeal that particular ruling from Judge Torres. And it has an implication across other aspects of crypto. Now, I'm talking about all of this because obviously it has a direct relationship with the price predictions of XRP, right? We can't consider XRP price predictions without considering the legal hurdles in which Ripple are going through. And until we get full clarity and everything is finally put to bed, which at the point of recording today's video, it is not. We've obviously had $125 million fine from Judge Torres on 1,278 transactions of sales of XRP to institutional investors. That is one thing. We don't know at the point of recording today's video because I am recording this ahead of time as I am flying to Thailand. We are essentially waiting to know whether or not the SEC are going to appeal that, which they are more than likely probably will, and whether they will appeal the programmatic sales, because it has cropped up in the Binance case with that particular ruling, and of course it's going to play a critical role in the Coinbase case as well. So there's a lot going on. This is a significant win for Ripple in the making, and also for the entire crypto space. We want to be able to kind of say that we have clarity for XRP, but also clarity for other cryptocurrencies, and specifically on exchanges for retail investors and all that kind of stuff. So why am I talking about it? Well, obviously we're at the kind of forefront of a potential breakout for XRP that could essentially mean that we're on the right path for significant gains. Now, obviously, the lawsuit is one thing to kind of consider. The use case of XRP is another. Whether or not we're going to see, once we kind of get clarity, institutional investors starting to utilize XRP and RippleNet and ODL and all those kind of things for their actual use case, and whether or not we'll see billions of dollars flowing into XRP as a result of that. Obviously, there's also all the ETFs that have to be kind of considered when it comes to the price predictions of XRP. For example, we've seen a Bitcoin ETF, we've seen an Ethereum ETF, most recently we've seen a Solana ETF in Brazil. And XRP, whether or not it's going to get significant hurdles to jump through in terms of selling XRP to institutional investors, could obviously become a problem, I should say, for ETFs in the future if you wanted to see an XRP ETF, for example. So clarity is going to be critically important for ETFs and all of that kind of stuff. So with all of these things in mind, where do we think XRP's price can go? I've obviously gone through in the past where I think the most likely targets are, which is $5.59 to $11.25, right? That's just this area here, this yellow box area here. Now, that area in itself can be dwarfed quite a bit, as in we could see significant surges higher than this on a multiple year period, right? If we're just talking about what's going to happen next year, I think the $5.59 to $11.25 is the most likely scenario, as 2025 is more than likely going to be a bull run year. And I can show you this as I talk about this a fair bit when it comes to the Bitcoin videos that we do. As you can kind of see, this is the election years and the Bitcoin halving years. Okay, here we can see that historically speaking, a bull market high has happened 1 year after an election year. So we have 1 year after the election year, we have a bull market peak. Okay, we have 1 year after the election year, we have a bull market peak. I'm talking about this because it's critically important, because we are just a few months away from just that. The +1 is 2025, and this is where we're going to have a bull market peak. Okay, so knowing all of these things is critically important, because when we start talking about XRP's price prediction, we have to think about, okay, are we going to be reflecting on 2025's bull market peak, or are we going to be talking about, 2029, 2030, 2045? How far in the future do we want to look for XRP price predictions? Now, obviously, we haven't had a new all-time high for XRP since 2017, right? Or 2018, January 2018, which is a significant period of time that has passed, right? And well, we are talking about a new all-time high in 2025, because I do think that is highly probable, but it's not going to be that moonshot that I guess a lot of XRP investors and holders are kind of hoping for, $589, $1,000, $10,000 XRP, right? These numbers are very unlikely to occur anywhere or anytime soon, I should say. It would take a significant amount of demand to come in to do such a thing. And at the same time, as price moves up like that, there's going to be a significant amount of sell pressure as people look to liquidate their assets on the way up as well. Okay, so it's important to understand that. The other part of this that gets overlooked and overshadowed a lot by these kind of crazy high price predictions in such short and unrealistic time periods, because they're not impossible. I'll put that out there. These price targets of, $10,000 and so forth, they're not impossible. They're not probable, but they're not impossible. They're definitely very possible targets. But also, it's not possible in such a short space of time. It has to happen over a sustained long period of time. Now, the other part of this that is really important is to understand that in order to move value from point A to point B, there has to be a liquid market. Now, in the very definition of a liquid market is a static market. That means no price fluctuations. Now, the price of XRP could be 10 cents and it'd be incredibly liquid, that it's able to transact seamlessly across borders. Also, it could be true that XRP is valued at $10,000 and is stable at $10,000, and you're able to transact across borders seamlessly, right? The price action is completely irrelevant to the liquidity of the market. And liquidity is the key thing here. There has to be buyers and sellers on both sides of the transaction, right? And that can happen at any particular price. Now, obviously, the more demand there is, in theory, the higher the price will have to be. Okay, so this is a metric of supply and demand, and as to whether or not we're going to see significantly higher prices. This is fundamental basics. Okay, so understanding that a liquid market is a static or stable market, essentially a stable coin market, essentially it's just a highly liquid market. And an illiquid market is where you have all the volatility. It's where you go from $0 to $10,000. That's an illiquid market. There's not enough there's not enough demand on either side of the argument, and price just rallies and bounces around all over the place. That is why we have a generally illiquid market in crypto. It's why it's highly volatile. The more liquid a market is, the more stable it is, the less percentage gains you get. Okay, so understanding that XRP requires a highly liquid market means that XRP requires a highly stable market, which means obviously we're going to have a significant amount of buying and selling occurring at any one point in any one country and so forth. And that, of course, can be at any particular price. So it could be $1, it could be $10, could be $100, could be $10,000. We don't know exactly where that's going to go, and it all depends on how much money is flowing in and out of XRP at any given time. With all that in mind, it's important to understand that I think that 2025 is going to be a realistic, overhyped expectation, $5 to $12, and be done with it, right? We'll see a bear market, and then we'll rally up again. We might push up into the kind of $15, $20, $30 ranges. Maybe by 2030, something to that effect. After 2030, well, it's fair game to then start talking about the potential highs as we kind of think about maybe going into 2040 and 2045, as we start to think about where the market is going. And if XRP is able to survive the test of time, those kind of price predictions can be well in excess of $100. Okay, so this is all about getting your kind of perspective in place. What is your time horizon? Are you looking for XRP's price to kind of go to from, well, 50 cents as it was a couple of days ago, all the way up to, $10, in a 48-hour period, right? That's an unrealistic expectation. But if your expectations are that maybe we'll go to $5 within the next 12 to 24 months, then I would say that's pretty reasonable expectation. And if your expectation is to see something like $30 to $50 in the next, 3 to 5 years, I'd say, okay, it's a bit of a target. It's possible. We'll have to see how things play out. And of course, if you're talking about, the future of real world assets, tokenization, XRPL being a key player in all of that, Bitcoin going to 13 or $14 million, 2045, 21 years in the future, well, yeah, you can potentially start talking about $100 plus XRP. But at today's price, the expectations need to be a bit more grounded. And so my prediction for the 2025 bull market peak will be between $5.59 and $11.25. That might not be what you want to hear, but I think it's what you need to hear. You can let me know what your kind of 2025 price predictions are for XRP in the comments down below. But furthermore, let me know what your longer term price targets are for XRP. Do you see a future where we can see $100 plus XRP? Let me know. And if you have found today's video useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, and if you haven't done so yet, check out my second channel where I cover a lot more technical analysis.